Lady Bird is a 2017 indie coming-of-age film that's directed by Greta Gerwig and follows a high school senior who's named Christine, but she has given herself the name Lady Bird. And in the film, Lady Bird is just trying to get through the last year of high school, and she's also working really hard to get into an East Coast college, even when some of her family members don't really want her to. And the relationship between her and her mother is basically the central focus of the film. There is a bit more to the story, but I will not be the one to spoil it for you. I watched this movie the night before the announcement that it had broken Toy Story 2's record of being the best reviewed film on Rotten Tomatoes. And instead of making my review, I decided, you know what, I'm gonna rest and relax, and I honestly should have known better. I should have just gotten this out of the way because, you know, it would have... I don't know. I feel like whenever I get things just right when I schedule the videos, I feel like it can actually get more attention to the film. I don't really necessarily want attention for myself. I'm okay with that because I want this channel to grow. But mostly I want to be able to introduce people to smaller independent films that they wouldn't have gone to see otherwise. I hope that I'm pronouncing her name right, but Saoirse Ronan portrays Lady Bird, and she gives one of the best performances that I've ever seen her give, possibly Academy Award nomination worthy. And she gives a very realistic performance in this film, and shows off a character who's extremely opinionated and even a bit of an asshole, but not in an over-the-top sense to where we hate her, but in a way that it's balanced and realistic, that you still love the character. And the rest of the cast is amazing, including Lucas Hedges and Laurie Metcalf, which honestly, I believe that Laurie Metcalf, who plays Lady Bird's mom, I believe that she has an outside chance of getting a Best Supporting Actress nom. As a film, this is a triumph. This is Gerwig's directorial debut. And she had done a couple of other films before, like mostly writing and co-directing, but this was the first time that she had complete creative control over a movie. And, excuse me, I think I'm getting a little sick. But she directed this movie and she even wrote the script, and as I said, this is a fucking triumph. There is so much that I could say about the film, just from a storytelling standpoint, that I loved. I mean, the story, the characters, dialogue, and environment were just so raw and real. And this is one of the only times this year that a film, or watching a film, a new film, has made me forget that I was actually watching a movie. I found myself just watching these characters and wishing that, you know, hey, I wish I could be your friend. I wish that I could, I wish that I could sit there and, like, hug you and tell you everything's okay because you're going through a tough time in your life. Or, you know, I want to celebrate your triumphs with you. And they don't play up certain things for dramatic effect or to really feel that cringe effect. There are those scenes, but they happen so natural that you don't even really think about it. It just happens, and then the moment passes, just like in real life. The dialogue flowed so naturally that it felt like it could have actually been improvised on the spot. And with quite a few scenes beginning in mid-conversation, you really get that feel of realism. And I'm sorry if I continuously say the word real or the word realism, but I can't not say it. This film feels like it was made of real contained moments. There are two things that coming-of-age films are known for doing that have become very cliche in recent years that this film does not do, and I actually want to set a little bit of time aside to talk about those things. Usually coming-of-age films that are centered around a female character as the protagonist, they're also romance films. You know, the film will focus solely on the protagonist meeting a boy, and then the romance changes her life, and she goes off to accomplish great things, whether she's still with the boy or not. And we don't really get that, though she does have a few love interests, you know, a couple of boyfriends through the progression of the film. Those relationships are not the focus. The real relationship that's focused on is the relationship between Lady Bird and her mother, and really what they mean to each other. As for the second cliche, many films like Lady Bird that focus on the protagonist's time in a very strict religious school, like she's in a Catholic, scratch that. As for the second cliche, keep in mind, Lady Bird, she's going to a high school that's a Catholic school, and many films like Lady Bird that focus on the protagonist's time in a strict religious school either imply or outright state that it's just the worst, it's a detriment to all existence. But this film strays from that logic. Sure, Lady Bird wants to blossom and she feels restricted from blossoming due to many of the school rules. It's not seen as a roadblock, it's just something that she has to get through. And also the teachers, most of them who are nuns or priests, don't seem like corrupt religious zealots. They're actually written and portrayed like regular people. Hell, I'd even say some of the more endearing characters were those nuns and priests. Guys, in the end, Lady Bird is a great movie. When the credits were rolling, or when they started rolling, I really felt sad because I had grown so attached to this story and these characters that I just wanted to keep going. I didn't feel like the movie was long enough, but at the same time, it just felt perfect in the length. And I ended up leaving the theater very emotionally satisfied. And this film also made me think about what home means, made me look at it in a way that I'd never thought of, and the way that they do it, I think is going to resonate with a lot of people. Whether you love where you come from, whether you hate where you've come from, whether you've lived in the same place for many, 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 many years, or if you're like me and you lived in one place for pretty much all your life, and then all of a sudden you get moved to another place and it's just everything's new, and like you don't know if you miss home or if you're like, oh, good riddance, I like being in this new place, and you know, the whole living alone thing. But I don't want to spoil what it is that the film really made me think. I really want you guys to experience it. But again, I'm rambling a bit, so I'm going to cut it short. I have no flaws, nips, gripes, bitches, or complaints about this movie. I do believe that this film is Oscar-worthy in many ways, including Best Picture. I will be giving Lady Bird 5 reels. Oh, that'll do it for me today. Please subscribe if you haven't already for more reviews and content, and as always, thank you so much for watching, and farewell until the next video. Bye, guys.